Hi, this is Eternal King here, bringing you another LOR video today. So I noticed a pretty interesting trend in Standard recently, and that it's actually a very positive trend, and that's deck diversity has been going through the roof. Typically in an established format, it's very rare that you see, again, this season of Standard's been around for quite a bit. It's very rare that you see a bunch of new lists come out of nowhere to start performing just as well as the top dogs. In this case, the top dog being Eddy, of course, and second being Hecarim. But we have a bunch of new aggro lists that are performing arguably just as well as those decks. So first off, we have Cybernidalee. Cybernidalee being a pretty cool Shurima Noxus aggro shell that I like a lot. So aggro, we'll call it. So it's running Bakai Reaper. When you slay a unit, grant me 1+0, and it's a fearsome unit. It's running Bloodthirsty Marauder. It's a vanilla 3/1. Now, of course, a vanilla 3/1 like Bloodthirsty Marauder has never been competitive before, but thanks to the way that Eddy decks work, where the only removal they have is essentially strike-based, there are 0 pings, like there's no pie toss in the meta right now, where you would just kill 2 of these for 1 card and 1 mana. In that world where it's just like basically big mid-range decks like Eddy, aggro is quite good. So running a Bloodthirsty Marauder is arguably just as good as running a Legion Rearguard and Eternal, this being a 3/1 instead of a 3/2. Next up we have Precious Pet, and then we have Legion Saboteur. So again, 12 1-drops with Darkened Bloodletters. Darkened Bloodletters, of course, whenever one of your 1-drops dies, it summons essentially summons a Darkened Thrall that you can equip, and it just gives you more aggression. It's sustainable aggression. So, if you kill my 1-drop, I'm just going to re-equip the Darkened Thrall, and just swing with that instead. So, in essence, it's reducing the amount of value you get for removing these 1-drops. All-Trained Trooper. All-Trained Trooper will be granting things vulnerable, so you can basically set up advantageous attacks to maximize damage, and also possibly remove problematic cards like ramp units and things like that. Merciless Hunter doing the exact same thing as All-Trained Trooper. Again, it has an aggressive stat line, and it lets you set up attacks that will maximize damage. Might, allowing your units to push more damage and have Overwhelm. Thorn of the Rose, it's just a Guile, Guile is not a terrible card, and so you're getting a 5/1 body, which again, because there are no pings, if the 3/1 body is good, then the 5/1 body is good in a deck like this, plus the ability to stun some of your opponent's blockers, like, this could be very good tech for Morgana, for example. You just spend 1 mana to Guile the Morgana when she comes down, and reducing the amount of healing they get off of that. Bloody Business, again, it's a strike card. Strikes are very good in Standard. Nidalee, again, Nidalee just levels, right? Nothing about Nidalee is unique to the Transform archetype. If you play a bunch of 1-drops with Nidalee on board, exactly 4 1-drops, she's still going to level. Like, she'll turbo out just fine. Red Barbed Razormance, so again, good Overwhelm card that puts a curse into your opponent's hand and provides a little bit of burn pressure. Sivir and Enraged Fire Spitter. So again, I like everything about this. It's aggressive, and it's got a decent value mid-range package with some strikes for reactivity and might to push damage. But that's all it is. That's really all it is. That deck is winning currently 56% of games, so it is quite good. More aggro. We'll call this Why So Aggro 2. So again, another aggro shell that is winning about 55.5% of games, so almost as good, and it is running essentially Bandle aggro. So you're running things like Pie Toss. It's going to do well into the 1-drop spam decks. You're running Teemo, again, good 1-drop. Grandfather Fae, it's a 1/2, and then a 3/1 it is a 3/1 with Spell Shield. Grumble Slug, 2/3 with a Tune. Bandle City Mayor. Staple Staple Bandle City card, Lopping Telescope, Staple Bandle City card, and then once you get wide enough with enough junk, you just go ahead and play Heroic Refrain, Heroic Refrain's not bad. I used to run this in my Yordle Tribal deck, which was a meme, of course, but yeah, Heroic Refrain's actually better than you think it is, especially in Standard. Might, Noxian Fervor, Tristana, Buster Shot, Tenor of Terror, Enraged Fire Spitter, and then the Bandle Gunner. So again, very similar to the last deck, but instead of being super heavy on one-drop spam, instead what we're doing is we're basically using persistent token value. Grandfather Fae summons a token, Grumble Slug attunes so we can get cheap pie tosses out, Bandle City Mayor summons a token, Lobbing Telescope will summon a body as well. All of this stuff is cycling, it's turbo buffing your Tristana, it's pushing a bunch of impact damage, you have 1 mana removal, you have 1 damage removal, you have 3 damage removal, and, you know, again, just good cards. I see nothing wrong with this. I see absolutely nothing wrong with this. I like this deck just fine. It's just good, solid LOR. It's saying, hey, Eddy, I know that you're one of the best champions in the game, and that you will continue to be one of the best champions in the game. I'm just going to play good stuff into you, and I'm going to win. And it's a testament to the longevity and value of LOR as a card game that Tristana is winning 55% of games. It's just good, solid LOR. Aggressive mid-range stuff. And then finally, we have one last one. I don't know if this is the standard version. Yes. So we have updated Lulu Jinx. Updated Lulu Jinx is running Gloom Sprites. Strike, Grant Me Impact, Otter Push to slow down the opponent's hand, Pie Toss, Scrap Heap, Yordle Squire, Boom Baboon, Electric Harpoon, Flame Chompers, Mystic Shot, Squeaker, Lulu, Spirit Portal to buff your board once you have all your Flame Chompers on board, Arena Promoter, Blowback, and Jinx. So again, there is a version of this deck in Eternal that is just as good. But yeah, this Lulu Jinx deck, I think I've highlighted it before in a previous video. I think it's a very good deck. Basically showing you that Spirit is very, the change to the way that, you know, cards like Spirit Portal function was very good. So buffs to any of the cards that were changed from granting 1/1 to granting keyword Spirit were all considered quite good. So Spirit Portal is one of those cards that was changed for the better. But it's a go wide deck, similar to the other go wide decks we've looked at. Aggressive 1-drops, discarding Flame Chompers, Lulu turning your Flame Chompers into 4/4s, and then pushing a whole bunch of damage and finishing them off with burn potentially. And turbo, you know, once you run out of stuff, you play your Jinx, you get your Rocket, you draw 2 cards, you know, all good things. So it's just good, solid LOR, right? You know, why so aggro 3? Every single deck is just, you know, good, aggressive, mid-range value shells that are designed to turbo level champions, whether it is turbo leveling the Tristana, whether it is turbo leveling the Jinx, or whether it is turbo leveling the Nidalee potentially in that aggro shell. Good, solid, aggressive, LOR, classic stuff. Can't really complain. Hecarim is good right now. You have these aggro decks that are good right now, and then you have Eddy. Previously, it was just Eddy and Hecarim, but now you have 3 of these new aggro decks that are performing decently. I don't believe that the format is as diverse or as interesting as something like Eternal, because Eternal has valid combo decks like Rise and things like that. It's not just, you know, aggro and mid-range, it's aggro, mid-range, control, and combo. But at least now you have the aggro. The aggro is officially back in Standard. There are 3 solid lists that you can play. And looking at them, I can tell that each one is well constructed and valuable. Pretty soon, we are looking at Eternal Ladder coming back. So for those that don't know, it's coming back on the 19th of June. It will not be long at all in coming back. And then we're going to have a whole new list of decks and brews coming out for the new season. We will climb very, very quickly, assuming that I'm not, you know, focusing on other games. But I think I'll try to grind, you know, pretty fast, a couple days. I should be up to Masters. And the most exciting thing is going to be these new Eternal decks. How, you know, we've already shown off just right now that with enough time and effort, Eddy can be countered. Eddy is not where LOR begins and where LOR ends. There is room in Standard for decks that are not Eddy, and not just Hecarim. There are room for decks that are not just Eddy in Eternal as well, and I'm looking forward to seeing that this season. This is Eternal King, signing out.